Welcome back to Rowdy Rio, the Ugly Duckling full fairy tale story for kids. Before starting the video, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for more fun updates.
Once upon a time, in the golden light of a quiet summer morning, the countryside stirred to life. There were no cars, no factories, no loud noises, only the soft rustling of tall grasses, the croaking of frogs by the pond, and the distant moo of a cow dot by a calm, clear pond nestled under a willow tree. A mother duck was gently nestled in her nest, hidden deep in the reeds. The reeds swayed softly with the breeze, like tall green dancers whispering secrets to the wind. She had been sitting on her eggs for a long time, much longer than usual. Each egg was speckled and warm, carefully laid and turned each day. There were 5 small ones and 1 large, odd-looking egg, much bigger than the others and not quite the same color. Still, the mother duck loved them all. She waited with patience, humming lullabies under her breath and dreaming of the day her babies would hatch. Dot every now and then, another duck or bird would waddle by. "Still sitting, dear?" asked the old goose with a chuckle. "Yes," said the mother duck with a smile. "They'll come when they're ready." "You do know," said the goose, lowering her voice, "that large egg might not be a duckling at all. It might be a turkey. They lay big eggs like that." But the mother duck brushed off the suggestion. "If it came from my nest," she said, "then it's mine." And so she waited and waited until one morning something changed. She felt the first movement beneath her feathers. Tiny cracks appeared in the shells, and then peep, 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 5 bright yellow ducklings broke free from their shells. They blinked in the sunlight and chirped happily. One by one, they stumbled out, fluffy and warm, nestling against their mother. But the big egg didn't move, not yet. So the mother duck kept waiting. The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, there was a stirring. The large egg shook once. Then again, crack. A final break revealed a duckling unlike the others. He was not yellow and bright like his siblings. His feathers were soft but gray. His legs were a little longer, and his beak was slightly curved. The mother duck tilted her head. "My, you're a big one," she said, smiling warmly. "You took your time, didn't you?" But when the other ducklings saw him, they frowned. "Why is he so big? Why is he gray? He doesn't look like us." The mother duck gently hushed. "Them, all of you are special in your own way," she said. "Come now, it's time for your first swim." They waddled together down to the pond, one behind the other. The little gray duckling followed at the back, a little slower, a little quieter, unsure of himself. When they reached the water, the other ducklings dove in with delight. To everyone's surprise, the gray duckling swam just as well as the others, perhaps even better. But even in the pond, whispers began. A frog croaked from the lily pad that one doesn't belong. A fish swam by and said, "He's not from this pond." And even the ducks on the far bank turned their heads and muttered, "What an odd-looking duckling." Back on the farm, life continued. The ducklings played together, splashing and tumbling through the mud. But the gray duckling was always left out. "Go away," said one. "You're too big," said another. "You look funny." They all laughed. He didn't understand why they didn't like him. He ate the same food, played the same games, swam in the same water, but the others only saw his differences. Even the farm animals joined in. The hens clucked cruelly. The cat narrowed its eyes and hissed. The turkey gobbled, "Ugly, ugly." The poor duckling tried to hide behind the barn, but wherever he went, someone made fun of him. The worst part, his own brothers and sisters ignored him, and his mother, though she cared for him, couldn't stop the teasing. He began to sit alone, near the water, staring at his reflection. "Maybe I am ugly," he whispered. And with that, one gray morning, he made a decision. he would leave the farm. The duckling waddled through the tall grass and far from the farm, following a path he'd never taken before. The sun had just risen, casting long golden shadows over the countryside. He passed wheat fields where butterflies floated lazily. He crossed over fallen logs, hopped across tiny streams, and flinched at every rustling noise in the brush. Every time he saw a creature, he would ask, "Do you know where I belong?" A goose family honked in reply, "You're too funny looking to be one of us." A squirrel chattered from a tree, "Try the woods, but don't expect to be welcomed." He wandered into a marsh where the ground was soft and damp. Flies buzzed around him. Frogs blinked with wide eyes. Even here, he wasn't left alone. A sneaky fox leaped from behind a bush and chased him, snapping at his heels. The duckling ran and ran until his legs ached, his heart pounded, his breath was ragged, and he collapsed under a patch of ferns by a quiet stream. That night, as stars twinkled above and crickets sang around him, he curled up in the grass and whispered to himself, "Why was I even born? No one wants me anywhere." Days passed. The air grew cooler. Leaves turned gold, orange, and red. Autumn had come. The duckling noticed birds flying in a V overhead, calling out to one another as they migrated south. He watched them longingly, wondering what it would be like to fly so high, so free. But his wings were still weak. He tried to join a flock of ducks he saw resting by a riverbank, but they drove him away. "Go find your own kind," they quacked. Then came the first frost. The air turned bitter cold. The ground hardened. The pond froze slowly until there was no more water to swim in. The duckling huddled under a bush, shivering. One day, while stumbling along a frozen path, he collapsed. His feathers were stiff, his beak too cold to speak. Just then, heavy footsteps approached. A kind farmer saw the poor creature and scooped him up gently. "Oh, you poor thing," the farmer said. Wrapping him in a warm scarf, he carried the duckling home, where the fireplace glowed and the air smelled like fresh bread. For the first time in a long while, the duckling felt warmth. But inside the farmer's home, it wasn't peaceful for long. The children squealed and pulled at his wings. The cat hissed jealously. The dog barked non-stop. The duckling panicked and flew through the window, shattering the glass. Out into the snow he went again, alone. Winter dragged on. Snow covered everything in a thick white blanket. Food was scarce, water was frozen. Every night was a battle to stay alive. The duckling took shelter in hollow trees, burrows, and dry reeds. Sometimes he found crumbs left by travelers. Sometimes nothing at all. Each time he looked into the ice, he hardly recognized himself. His reflection seemed taller, his feathers darker, but he still felt ugly. On the coldest night, he lay under the stars, unable to sleep. He stared up at the moon and asked softly, "Will I ever be loved?" Spring came slowly. The snow melted. Rivers flowed again. The sky turned blue, and the sun warmed the earth. The duckling woke one morning to the sound of running water and birds singing. He stretched his wings and felt something different. They were stronger now, longer, brighter. He made his way to a wide lake and leaned over the edge. What he saw made him blink. There in the water was a beautiful swan, pure white feathers, graceful wings, a long curved neck. He turned his head, and the reflection did the same. It was him. "I'm not a duckling anymore," he whispered in awe. "I'm a swan." Just then, a group of elegant swans glided across the lake. They saw him and called out, "Come with us." Shyly, he spread his wings in for the first time. He took off. He flew above the lake, over the trees, soaring with the others. Below, all the animals he had once passed stared in amazement. "Is that the ugly duckling?" they murmured. But he was no longer ugly. He was radiant now. The swan glided through the lake like a prince of the water. He was proud, but not boastful. He remembered the cold nights, the teasing, the loneliness, but now he felt strong. He felt seen. He felt home. When children came to the lake and tossed crumbs into the water, they pointed at him. "Look at that one. He's the most beautiful of all." And though he had never forgotten the pain he'd once felt, he smiled quietly, because he knew no being different didn't mean he was wrong. Being rejected didn't mean he was worthless. And being patient had led him to his true self. And so, the once ugly duckling, now a magnificent swan, lived in joy, at peace, at home, and finally, love.
If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like the video.